Welcome back to the Shuffle Squad. Zach Lesage here. We're going to be going over Charizard EX, an old returning favorite to the metagame, and you might be wondering, why is this deck returning? Well, Charizard has been successful for a while, and over our past set, Journey Together, we've seen that this deck kind of took on more of a Terra style of play with Noctowl, Terapagos, and using that kind of engine. Now, some lists would still run Pidgeot, but it was playing the Noctowl, Area Zero, all that stuff. So why is the Pidgeot version back? Well, that's a great question. Now, Pidgeot's back because largely this deck is not necessarily going to be seeing as many Bidoof. It seems in our Japanese metagame that I've been following along, Bidoof play rate has gone down a little bit as players have experimented with other archetypes. The number one performing deck right now in Japan is probably just Raging Bolts. So with Charizard having a pretty strong matchup there, and of course we gain Shaman, the little green Pokemon, towards the middle left of the deck list. So Shaman's going to function similar to Bench Barrier, the Manaphy that we had that made Charizard one of the better decks in format before. Now Shaman's only going to protect your non-rule box Pokemon, so they can still snipe a Pheasantipity or a Pidgeot, or, well, I mean, they can't snipe Charizard because of its built-in Terra ability, but we can protect our Charmanders, our Duskulls, and our Pidgeys while they're still little. And then we take a traditional list here where we have access to Technical Machine, Evolution. We could evolve these Pokemon, so even if we run into a Bidoof, we have some options there, and we could build up our Charmeleon, build up a Pidgeotto, build up a Dusclops even, and then get set up. If we're not really running into that, then we're gonna go for a rare candy kind of strategy. So those are really the big things that Charizard it's going for, and I'll kind of explain the deck for anyone who's newer to the game, because I mean every few months people join the game. So before we get too far, I do want to let everyone know the QR code takes you directly to the My Limitless page of this exact Charizard list, or at least it should. Let me know in the comments if I got it right or not. And of course, you can find the list copy and pastable in the description. Now, you cannot not copy and paste this in the live right now because Shaman is not available on live. So I've used the My Limitless deck builder to build this deck. That doesn't necessarily mean that we could play it on live. Now, if you want to play it on live, you just have to omit the Shaman from your deck. So if you want to adjust it on the My Limitless deck building page, and then maybe add in, like, let's say a second Charmeleon, or find a cut for, like, let's say you cut a TM Evo and Shaman and add in a 1/1 Rabska, that would be good enough to kind of rock this deck. Charizard is all about accelerating energies and having this big kind of boastful attack. So we're doing 180 plus 30 for each prize card our opponent has taken. Now, if our opponent's taken one prize card, let's say we're playing against a Raging Bolt, they've knocked out a Charmander, we're only doing 210 to the Raging Bolt, whereas 240. That's why I've included Defiance bands in this deck, so we can do an additional 30. We do 240, they knock us out, we knock them out, they knock us out, we knock them out and win the game because we took 2-2-2, whereas our opponent took one prize card for the first attack. Charizard has a lot of really cool strategies, including the Defiance band strategy, knocking out some Pokemon with low HP. So after your opponent takes a prize card, you can go Pheasantipity, even knocking out a single prize card Pokemon if you really need to. Dusknoir kind of glues this deck together, where we can increase our damage output with Curse Blast, because we can get that damage and put it on anything that we really want. So let's say we're just like Rare Candy, Dusknoir, Curse Blast, your opponent's active Dragapult. Now we can knock it out with the 210, even if they've drawn 0 prize cards. But we also, with our opponent being forced to draw a prize card, we could put them in situations that they might have not necessarily anticipated with that. So that's why we have the Dusknoir line there to help fix any damage issues that we might have. And we could also just really force our opponent into drawing prize cards. It also works incredibly well with Briar, one of the supporters we play in this deck, because we can force our opponent to be at a set amount of prize cards, so we can draw an extra prize card when we're getting a knockout with our Terra Pokemon. So we could really not only just force our opponent into increasing their damage, we could force our opponent to playing around a card that they may or may not know that we run, and then force them into a trap of, yeah, we're just going to draw 3 prize cards. And even Dusknoir, maybe you knock out a single prize card Pokemon, you could draw like 4 prize cards in one turn with this deck. Pidgeot really holds everything together. As much as Dusknoir is the glue, Pidgeot's Pidgeot's there is like a pillar of this deck. It's like once you get Pidgeot out, you're like, yep, I'm gonna search for that boss. Yep, I win. I'm gonna search for that Iono. I'm gonna disrupt my opponents. I need that rare candy. Pidgeot is on top of everything, controlling exactly what you need. And that's how we're able to get away with these razor thin lines of 2-1-3 Charizard, where we see a lot of these Dragapult decks playing 4 Dreepy, 4 Dracloak, 3 Dragapult EX. So we're able to really piece those together and search out whatever we need. And of course, with having access to supporters, you can even search out Jacques. Jacques can then search out Dusknoir and Charizard, so we can make really cool combos between the deck. Now, you got to watch out. There's a new supporter team, or new stadium, Team Rocket's Watchtower, that can stop your ability. But that's why we have 2 copies of stadiums in our deck. I went with 1 Artisan and 1 Jamming Tower. Jamming Tower might sound counterproductive towards our Defiance Band and our Rescue Board, but Rescue Board is really going to be a early game kind of strategy to get into Cleffa. Defiance Band hopefully is going to be an early game strategy. If not, it might not necessarily even matter. It's just there for when we need it. And TM Evo, if you're TM Evoing when you're dropping the Jamming Tower, might not be working out too well for you. The Jamming Tower could be great late game against a Gardevoir, which is pretty popular. There's some lists that are running Bravery Charm. There's just some lists that are running tools, so I figured that might be better. Some lists are running Pokemon League Headquarters. I actually feel pretty great against most basic Pokemon decks, so that's why I've opted for the Jamming Tower there. Otherwise, the deck is going to be fairly simple with its choice of item cards. Buddy Buddy Pop to search out your Charmanders, Pidgeys, rare candies to evolve into your stage 2 Pokemon, skipping that stage 1 step, some Ultra Balls, some Nest Balls, counter catches if you get behind, and you could even force yourself to be behind with Dusknoir. A lot of lists in Japan are cutting Night Stretcher. I still think Night Stretcher is incredibly important for this deck. And then we'll kind of finish everything off with A-Spec. We have Unfair Stamp here because I wanted to make sure that Arven was live throughout the entire game. So Arven can almost be treated as like a 4th Iono, or up to 7 Ionos until we play that Unfair Stamp. So we're able to search out Arven, play Unfair Stamp, and maybe continue on the game. If you have a dead hand, it does give you an opportunity to maybe get out of it if your opponent's taken a prize card. I think it's pretty cool. We have seen some other lists that run Hero's Cape, Max Belts, Secret Box. I mean, we can go almost every single A-Specs. Charizard's played it because Charizard was around before A-Specs, and Charizard's around after A-Specs. So I think it's really one of these decks it's kind of proven itself against time. Shaman helps it out tremendously against a lot of popular decks that can snipe Pokemon on the bench, such as Gardevoir with its Screamtail and Zoroark. We also have countless things. It doesn't block Dragapult's damage counters, but it does block the bench damage, and that's something. Terra Box is another one. So a lot of those decks might actually go down a little bit, giving Charizard a chance to survive in this format. If you need any of the cards for this deck, check out our sponsors at Kayfabe Cards. Great store. That's where I pretty much get all of my cards from. They ship, I believe, internationally, but you can always check. They vend most of the US regionals. Absolutely great. Ultimate Guard, you can sleeve up this deck if you have it in real life and you want to get it prepared in some Katana sleeves. And of course, PTCGL store if you want to get the code cards for this deck to build online, and then get some extra code cards to get credits to build this deck once Destined Rivals comes out. That's what we got going on for today. I was gonna do some tabletop gameplay, but I figured why not share Charizard. I want to start sharing some of these deck lists that I think are a little bit better in this format and really help players on their Pokemon journey, because gameplay is awesome, but I know a lot of y'all just want the lists. Appreciate it if you could give this video a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, double check to see if you've subscribed, because I know a lot of y'all have not subscribed, and we'll catch up real soon. Peace out and have a great one. to support the Shuffle Squad, be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes.
Tabi no hajimari wa tsune ni michi e no ippo de aru. Sore wa yami e to tsuzuku. Hajime no ippo o fumidasu ni wa yuuki ga iru. Soshite tabi no owari ni wa tabi o hajimeta toki no jibun to wa betsu jin ni natte iru kamoshirennai. Tabi ni deyo. Monogatari no tsugi no shou ga onushi o matte iru. 将軍の道を歩め、侍の箱とともにアルティメットガードが送る冒険の第一章。刀将軍の道、近日発売。
Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed the content that we have today. And maybe you'll click on one of these other videos, enjoy those videos too. If you haven't already, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments what video you want to watch next. Until next time, we'll catch up with all y'all later. Have yourself a great day.